Greetings, it's the Captain here from Andertons, and I'm today joined by the lovely Paul Hindmarsh from Line 6, and he's going to tell us about a new product that they've released in 2014 called the Amplifi FX100, which is here, or if you're looking at the small cam, over here. So, Paul, we did a really cool video together on the Amplifi combos earlier on this year. Tell us about the Amplifi FX100.
Yeah, well, it's the next part of the family, like you said. So we have the 75, got the 150, and obviously FX100, which is the floor mount multi-effect processor version of it. And basically what you've got there is all the great sounds that we got from Amplifi, but in a floor unit. So you can run those straight direct into a PA system, or you can run it direct into your own home hi-fi system, as well as controlling all the great sounds from Amplifi and controlling them with that iOS app as well. So we've got the 100 different effects, effects in there. We have the 70 different guitar amplifiers and the different cab models, and obviously that very easy to use navigation thing that we've got on the app.
Cool. So really, I guess this is aimed at the guy that either already has a guitar amp that he's completely happy with and therefore doesn't really see the need to buy Amplifi, you know, the combo, or the guy that's perhaps got a crazy good hi-fi that he just wants to use Amplifi and play his guitar through his hi-fi.
Yeah, absolutely. And it'll do all the same great things like the tone match thing. So as you jam along with your iTunes library, it's going to download patches to get you in the ballpark, or get you the actual tone from that track. And the same sort of cloud-based community of people sharing tones as well. And like you said there, if you've got a great hi-fi at home, you can plug your guitar into here, take the left and right outputs. That'll either run the guitar sound and your backing tracks, or your iTunes library, straight into your home hi-fi system. Or you can actually tap off the guitar sound out of the amp out and actually run that into your guitar amplifier as well. So you could be jamming along on stage, you know, or at home, backing tracks coming out of a full range system, and your guitar sound coming out of your traditional kind of guitar amplifier.
So we're going to demo that for you now. So the first thing that you're going to hear, or the first part of this demo, we're going to plug the Amplifi into a regular guitar amplifier. For those eagle-eyed in you who are going, but there's nothing plugged into the front. That's because we're plugged into the effects loop return on the back of the amplifier. So we're bypassing all the preamp tones on the amp, going straight into the power amp. And we're going to show you on the iPad here how you would, you know, make a tone. You know, I guess there must be dozens or even hundreds of preset tones, but we're going to show you how you can make your own one.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, maybe it's a good point to sort of raise that. One of the reasons why it's called FX100 is there's 100 different presets in there. So as we look at the top of the unit, maybe it's worth describing that. You know, so we have your up-down banks through your patches, tones A, B, C, D, and those preset tones are very well laid out. Different from Line 6, and a lot of companies are guilty of creating tones that have, when you first plug in, there may be a pitch shifter coming out of the left-hand speaker, a chorus, and it's all panning. Unless you know what the original program preset designer was thinking of, it's very difficult to get that to sound good. Line 6 have laid these tones out in the rate for like a rock band, so it's like a rock band clean sound, a crunch sound, a lead sound, same with a country band, that kind of thing. So so straight away when you plug into it, you're going to get usable, very usable sounds. And then, sorry to keep talking about the presets there, but what this has enabled us to do is, by using the tone search function on the app, we're kind of done away with that idea of having 100 presets. Because we can save 100 sounds into there, but now instead of maybe searching for a particular tone from one of those 100 presets, you want to play one of those songs, how about, you know, how easy is it now to actually just type the name of your favorite guitar player, the name of that song into the app, and it'll download a bunch of tones. So we're kind of dealing with like an unlimited amount of presets. Cool.
So we've named one Andertons that you can see on the iPad. The iPad obviously doesn't come with the unit, but the app is free. And what we're going to do is we're going to go into the sort of the editing so that you can see how quick and simple it is to create a patch. It's unlike any other sort of traditional style multi-effects unit where you would be using sort of parameters on a relatively small menu. This has all been designed to sort of be edited on either an iPhone or an iPad, or later in the year hopefully an Android app as well, but at the moment just iPhone. So let's go in and just start with saying, let's choose an amp that we want it to sound like.
Yeah, okay, cool. So let's just head into the tones here.
So it's defaulted to a 1965 Plexi 45.
It's defaulted to that because that's the one that I always
That's the one you like. Let's have a listen what that sounds like. Sounds great.
We'll switch the amp on.
So other than a bit of reverb, we haven't got a lot sort of going on that patch. Let's just so go into the amp menu so that I can see kind of what choices there are.
Well, this will give us our 70 different amps.
70?
70 different amps,
wow.
Yeah. So we've got those arranged as clean amplifiers, American amplifiers, British amplifiers and high gain amplifiers.
Well, let's stay with British then.
Okay, yeah, so we click on that and then we can audition all these amplifiers just by clicking and highlighting those.
I've got to turn this on.
I don't know if you want to just click through.
Yeah, let me just click. So you can see how quickly it does. If you haven't sort of gathered this already, the iPad is not is connected to the amplifier via Bluetooth. So the beauty here is that you can potentially leave your effects unit somewhere on the floor and out the way and just have your iPad or your iPhone here and no messy cables and just, you know, play away. So we've chosen an amp. I don't mind if you want to go back to that Plexi 45, whatever you want to do. How would we then look at, say, the tone controls for that amp?
Yeah. Well, we've auditioned all the amps there, so all the tones that you dialed up there, they've come up with sort of the default setting, which is not necessarily the best kind of setting there, so we haven't even started with the EQ controls there. So if we just double click on this, this will take us into the amp controls, and then from there we can go in and we can change the drive, the bass, the middle and the treble.
And if you've never edited anything on an iPhone, you're like, you know, that's it. So you drag and drop your, so it's not like you know, it's not fiddly or confusing or anything like that. And even on an iPhone, which is where the screen is obviously much smaller, it's still dead easy to do. So if we play now, and I'll just edit some stuff. Awesome. Apologies if I keep flipping the standby switch on, but because we're using a very sensitive shotgun mic in the room to hear us talking, any background noise from the amp it'll pick up, so that's why I'm doing that. So we've got the EQ screen here. Where would we go to next, and so what else can we change on the...
Well, your next option there is going to be go for your cabinets.
Yeah.
So if I select cab there, I've got 20 different types of cabinets. I've also got different types of microphone there, and microphone positions. So we can go through and we can audition exactly the same as we did before with any of those different cabinets.
Let's have a little listen to a few of those. Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. And obviously, I guess if you're recording or playing through a hi-fi, the cabinet emulations are going to, I guess, come out probably more than they are if you're going through a combo. because I guess the combo itself has got a certain character, hasn't
Yeah,
it?
definitely, absolutely. And Amplifi FX100 as well, obviously taking those main outs for recording and doing all those kind of things in the Pro Tools or your Cubase or anything, so that's going to be great.
So, what can we do? What else can we do?
Next thing we can do there, we've got option of the 100 different effects that I mentioned before. So we can start adding any different kind of effects in there, in any kind of order as well. So as we saw with Amplifi 75 and 150, we can just drag and drop those effects and change that signal path.
So let's have let's get a bit of we'll have a bit of tube screamer in the front end and a bit of classic kind of, I don't know, echo or something on it through the on the output. Output.
So what we're going to do here, we've got all the different effects.
There's millions of them. So they're split into, I see, drives, dynamics, modulations, delays, and filters and weirdy sort of stuff.
Yes.
So we want
very weird.
We want to drive.
Yeah.
And you've got.
I wonder which one it could be.
I wonder which one it could be. And do I just double tap
double tap that? Yeah, that'll take us into the screen for that.
I like it. So let's have a little listen. And it's now on, is it? Is that
the switch? If that's the on switch in the corner, yeah.
So I can audition it. So we're looking at some delays now to go afterwards. You can see all the kind of cool pedals here. I'm just going to select this regular digital delay here. So if I tap this, now we've got two options here. I can either physically tap the tempo in, or if I don't want to do that, I can just use this slider. So it has kind of two modes. One is just I'm more used to this kind of traditional sort of, how long do I want the delay? But if I want to do tap, and then you can sort of choose the sort of division, crotchets, quavers, whatever your thing is,
absolutely.
triplets.
And that's obviously so handy for jamming along with the track and just playing along in time with your delays. It makes a big difference the way you sound.
So I'm going to have my delay about here, and here we go. Let's have a listen. Cool. Yep. And we've got a bit of reverb on this already. What other options have we got here? We've got some modulation effects, we've got EQ effects, we've got compression effects. There's just loads.
Just like we saw before, you've got modulation effects, so you could have multiple different modulations as well. You're not just limited to the one type of modulation. So if you want to have, again, multiple delays triggering delays, all kinds of crazy stuff going on, multiple filters, multiple distortions, you could do that as well.
I just like the little pictures of the pedals. I just think they look cool. Well, let's go full Bon Jovi 1980s chorus and delay and everything. So random. I don't want random chorus. Where's just a norm? Where's my Boss CE2 or CE1 even? That one.
Well,
dun dun.
It's got that look about it.
Let's try that. That is super cool. So hopefully you get the basic idea of an absolute plethora of guitar amp and effect tones here. So that's the kind of a real brief run through of how you might edit this. Well, so what does once I've kind of chosen a basic preset, if I'm out live and I just want to recall those presets and I'm not fussed about editing them, do I have to take the iPad with me still anyway? Or
no, not at all. Anything that you save, let's say we wanted to save that patch now and overwrite the Anderton one that I just did. I then got the option of saving that to the iPad, which then I can plug into any Amplifi device. I can transfer that sound or save that sound and publish it online, so anybody in the world can share that sound.
Cool.
And as part of the new app, we can actually tweet that sound straight away as well. So that sound could
tweet it.
Tweet it, yeah. If we could link
I thought you said tweak it, and then I just thought
no, tweet.
You said tweet. Tweet life, honestly.
So we can actually post that
more useless Twitter posts
direct to Twitter now. Yeah. So so we can do all that, or which is what you were just getting at, yeah, we can send the tones straight to the Amplifi FX100.
So if all
in a live situation,
yeah.
I do not need the iPad. I do not need any
So,
of that.
but presumably your basic, you know, drive, bass, treble controls on here work live.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I can't then get into the effects and stuff. So, but that's, I quite like that. So essentially, I could kind of get. Oh, you can.
You can to a degree, yeah. Because what you can also do is you can assign this effects control here.
Oh,
same as
didn't see
Amplifi
that.
75 and Amplifi 150. Using the app, you can actually assign that effects control to control whatever you want. So it could control the chorus, could control the chorus mix, tremolo speeds, anything like that. You just assign it to that, so you have got control in a live situation.
Just think of everything,
as well.
don't you? Okay, so now again, we could talk for hours if we were going to go through all the different amp models and everything on here. So I obviously we don't have time, but I'm sure there are lots of other Amplifi videos going up that will show different styles and stuff. So we've talked about now how you would, you know, get all your different tones and stuff on Amplifi, but the other super cool feature with Amplifi, or one of the other super cool features with Amplifi, is how you how it will import your iTunes library into the app and then kind of suggest appropriate ready-made guitar tones for every song. So tell us a bit about how it does that, Paul.
It does that by importing your iTunes library, like you said. It uses the ID3 data, or the tags that are attached to that sort of sound file. So it's going to look for like artist names, for the guitar players' names. It's maybe even going to look for the tone creators' names. So that could be me, it could be you, it could be anybody who's creating tones, and then twittering those tones online as well. So anybody in the world can share your tone.
One of the things we've done on previous videos here is we have a Dorje track in iTunes, and Rob designed an Amplifi guitar patch, if you like, that he thought sort of worked well with that track. And so this is how it would work, if you like. So here's the iTunes list. We've got a Dorje album here. The track that we've imported is Aeromancy. And what will happen is you'll see almost instantly it comes up with some tones it's suggesting on the right hand side, and it's the top rated tone is the one that Rob wrote for it. Now that's not stored on this iPad. That has literally pulled that down from millions of different tones in the sky and just gone, that's the one that's most appropriate for that track. So whether you're going to jam along with your favorite Jimi Hendrix album or your favorite Eric Clapton album or whatever, it's constantly going to be pulling down tones. And I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, as people vote to sort of rate, if you like, different tones, what will always happen is the track it suggests, sorry, the sound it suggests for your track will always be the one that has the most, if you like, sort of votes for being the most appropriate. So you'll find over time, perhaps the tones it suggests change and improve over time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and you can, like you said, you rate those tones. You always favorite those tones as well. In which case, those tones will come down and they will stay in your iPad. So then you don't need to have that Wi-Fi connection all the time. So you have multiple different options. And
you can edit those anyway and save them as your own tones.
Yeah, save them as your own, republish them, retweet them.
Now there's another way that you can search for tones, if you like, and that's called Tone Search, and that is a new feature that wasn't in the app when we did the video for Amplifi. So show us what Tone Search is.
Yeah, well what this enables us to do is, like I said before, we can, rather than be dealing with like the 100 different presets, if I go to the main menu here, so I may not know how to create a particular tone for a track. I may not know that if I'm scrolling through a tone library that the perfect tone may be a clean chorus sound. I may not know what clean chorus is, but what I may know is I may know the track, the sound of the particular artist that I want. I may know the particular song that I want or the album that I want.
If you said someone like Andy Summers or something, is that the idea?
That absolutely. So we're in the tone match page there. So let's do just that. So let's put in there Andy Summers.
I just came up with that name at random. This is not a fix.
Summers got 2 M's?
I don't know. See,
We'll soon find out. That looks right. It looks right, doesn't it?
I think so.
So now what's happening is it's actually going online. It's down. It's looking for tones like that. So
Summer's clean chorus, which is what you wanted, isn't it? So that's the second one down. So let's have a listen. So we can just press that and
we can just load that in.
That's got lots of stars as well, so that must be good.
Yeah. So that's just now going to load that tone in. So if we switch that up.
One clean chorus.
Yeah. So now as a complete novice, I now know right. That's chorus that Andy Summers uses.
Yeah.
I now know that's that kind of tone that he's going to kind of gravitate towards. So now when I program my own tones, I can start using chorus as well.
Now you were also saying that I was a bit skeptical about kind of this idea of taking an iPad or an iPhone out and using this as live, and I suppose I sort of instantly, I'm perhaps old school in that I see this more of a home recording, home jamming sort of setup, but you've got some experience of actually using this live that you thought was positive.
Yeah, absolutely. What it enabled me to do, because I'm kind of old school as well, so what I found myself in a situation in a band practice was kind of dialing in the tones and programming them from my phone. And I kind of found that to start with, I was a bit infuriated by the fact that my phone was actually involved in the band practice. Like it's involved in every other aspect of my life, like from getting us up in the morning to watching videos to all kinds of things. Yeah. But what I did realise very, very quickly, with like 2-3 songs in, is the creative possibilities of actually not having to be on the floor dialing in tones, so I wasn't having to kneel on the floor in a dirty practice room while I tweaked different kinds of sounds. I was able to stand there playing the song and actually tweak the sounds, and with those sliders it's so quick and so intuitive to do that. But what it also enabled us to do was to actually experiment with new sounds, experiment with new effects, and come to the solo. Maybe the band didn't like it, but it meant that for the first half of the solo I was able to add a filter. Then if the filter was too severe, I could very, very quickly, almost whilst I'm playing. And all these young bands that you see, and so, where the guitar player's on the floor dialing in these crazy sounds, and it sounds great and it's so creative. For that kind of thing to be able to do it standing up when you're a bit older.
And I guess because there's so many of these iPod and iPad and iPhone cradle devices now that plug onto mic stands or desktops or whatever like that, it is pretty easy to do. So
yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah, and so intuitive. So for an experimenting with new effects and new ideas for songs, I found it it was a great way of doing things.
Cool. So the last thing that we're going to do, and potentially something that you've perhaps heard us doing, that you've heard playing throughout this video, just to try and break up the monotony of Paul and I talking all the time, is what it might sound like if you put it through your hi-fi. So this section here, we're going to just quickly rejig the cables. What you're hearing now is not the guitar coming out the amplifier. You're hearing the guitar and the backing track coming out of this straight into our interface. So essentially emulating what it would sound like if you were just to go into a hi-fi. And it sounds awesome. We're going to jam along to a blues track that I have on my iPhone. It's part of like a blues backing tracks thing, which if you like, there's a really cool album. I'll put the link to the album on my in the description below. It's full of cool jam along tracks. Paul's only ever heard this track once before, so I'm sure he'll work it all out as he goes along.
It's in the key of E.
It's in the key of E, it'll be fine.
That's the only key I can
and we're going to use a different sound each. I'm going to play a bit, Paul's going to play a bit, but that's essentially what you're going to hear for this last part of the video. Yeah, enjoy. Thanks ever so much to Paul for coming in and taking us through Amplifi. Hope you've enjoyed it. They're in stock now at Andertons. The price is about £220 or something like that, so incredibly affordable, and lots of good fun. That's it. I've been the Captain. I'll see you next time.